Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart. And entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray.
So that is Nicki Minaj, who I don't generally talk about on the show, but in this case I have to because she is, for better or worse, and I don't know her motivations, we don't talk as much as we used to, but she is helping to advance a thing that Trump and the Republican Party is doing, which is trying to pitch the violence that's happening in Nigeria, not as a generalized tragedy that affects all people and needs to be stopped no matter what. Instead, it's a genocide of Christians. That's what she is pushing for. And a lot of Republicans have been trying to make that case, even though all the experts on the ground in Nigeria and internationally are saying that this is violence that does not stop outside of like a mosque or whatever. It affects everybody. Everybody of all faiths are being killed by terrorists in Nigeria. But in any event, over here in America, specifically in Texas, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is trying to sort of ride this new renewed wave of Islamophobia that we're experiencing to try to crack down an organization specifically in Texas. So he declared one of the largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy groups in the US, that's CAIR, a foreign terrorist organization, under a proclamation that he said allows the state to try shutting them down. Now you're probably familiar with this organization. It's the Council on American-Islamic Relations. So he says it's a foreign terrorist organization, which a little bit of a fact check there, it's not. No matter what Greg Abbott chooses to say, but he's gonna pitch it that way. He also declared it a transnational criminal organization, specifically seemingly to stop it from buying land in the state. That proclamation also included the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, neither CAIR nor the Muslim Brotherhood are designated as foreign terrorist organizations by the United States government, which at least would be a body that does that sort of thing and can do that sort of thing. Greg Abbott, I've never heard of a state unilaterally declaring that a civil organization, an activist organization, is a terrorist organization. And I don't even know how he can do that. That doesn't even seem like a real thing. But regardless of how he can do it, why he's doing it is very clear. They're going after Muslims and specifically Muslim organizations' abilities to buy real estate, to set up buildings and help out their communities, that sort of thing. It's sort of classic Republican Islamophobia. Remember, of course, there was the Ground Zero Mosque, which was just it was a community organization that Fox demonized for months and months. We're getting into a little bit of that here with Greg Abbott. Maybe he's posturing for 2028, I don't know. But I do know that this is not new in Texas. Months ago, Texas Republicans moved aggressively to try to stop a Muslim-centered planned community around one of the state's largest mosques near Dallas. Abbott and other GOP state officials launched investigations into the development tied to the East Plano Islamic Center, saying the group is trying to create a Muslim exclusive community that would impose Islamic law. Yeah, we're back on that. We're back on Sharia. Remember when people tried to do that decades ago and now we all live under Sharia law? Remember when Barack Obama getting elected meant that there was gonna be Sharia law? Remember when Ilhan Omar being elected meant that we were all gonna have Sharia law and now we all definitely have Sharia law? Remember that? That thing that they said would happen and totally happened? Yeah, they're still saying that. Now CAIR has responded to this. They told Abbott in a letter that his announcement had no basis in law or fact. The group accused his office of stoking anti-Muslim hysteria. You do not have, quote, the authority to unilaterally declare any Americans or American institutions terrorist groups, nor is there any basis to level this smear against our organization. Again, I'm gonna state this, and if you're a Republican, you might want to earmuffs because this is gonna trigger you. There are many Americans who are Muslim. They are, and some of them go to mosques, and some of them participate in Muslim community organizations or whatever. You know why they do that is because that's what people of all religions do. Have you driven around Texas? Have you seen the mega churches? They're cities unto themselves. But this is some big new exclusionary thing. Like, we're not shutting down the mega churches. By the way, like, even if we're setting aside the religion of it, there's violent militias out there plotting race wars and stuff. They're not being declared as terrorist organizations. Dude can't get worked up about that, but someone trying to set up like daycare for Muslims outside of Dallas, all of a sudden that requires the governor to get involved. No, this has no basis in law or in fact. This has nothing to do with the real world. This has to do with one of two things. Either this is Greg Abbott just trying to, I don't know, maybe help himself in his quest to get his 4th term as governor of Texas by stoking xenophobia, very classic Republican thing, pit us against each other to hide your failures as an executive, or it's looking ahead to 2028 and him wanting to do it nationally. Either way, it's grotesque. We deserve better. Texans, whether a Muslim or otherwise, deserve better. But unfortunately, until you get Greg Abbott and state Republicans the hell out of office, this is what you can look forward to.